The School Library Committee would like to present the program, The Coding Lab, to you for consideration in the 2023-2024 school year. After much research and deliberation, we feel this would be a great addition to our library programs and school community. We'd like to start with a brief overview of what coding is. Coding is a way to instruct a computer or other technology to complete a task. Coding also requires the knowledge of various coding languages such as blocking, which is a visual form of coding, JavaScript, and Python. Being knowledgeable in these languages is the foundation for careers such as computer programming, software design, website design, and basically any other technology-based career you can think of. Now that we have a mutual understanding of what coding is, we can discuss the program we'd like to implement, the Coding Lab. The Coding Lab is a program through the library that instructs students in coding and its various languages. To instruct the students, we'd like to use the web-based coding curriculum by Tinker. Tinker is awesome because it allows for these complex coding languages to be broken down into fun, gamified experiences. Throughout the program, the students will earn rewards, create games, and design their own websites. They'll even learn fundamental coding skills like blocking, Java, Python, HTML, CSS, and various debugging skills. The great thing about this is that students get to work at their own pace, and they get to be creative. The Coding Lab will take place after school 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Each session will be 45 minutes. Since the Coding Lab will be offered through our high school library, our target audience for this is 9th to 12th grade students. In order to join the program, students must submit an application before the beginning of the school year. Out of these applicants, 20 students will be selected based on their explanations of why they would like to participate and their availability. No experience will be necessary for these students. And any students who do not get selected this year are welcome to reapply for the next year. The committee has many goals or objectives for this program, which are supported by several learning standards. Our first objective is for students to design and create real products. This is supported by ISTE standards 1.4a, 1.4b, and 1.4d, which all relate to students using technology to be innovative designers. As students work through this program, they'll be creating their own games and websites that they can take with them, and these will be authentic and hands-on learning experiences. Our second objective is for students to build their problem-solving skills. This is supported by AASL standards 5B1 and 5B2, which require students to learn through tinkering and trial and error. As students work their way through their programs they're creating, they'll be faced with debugging issues, and they'll have to tinker their way out. Our third objective is for students to develop future work skills, which is supported by the Texas TEKS for Career Development and Technical Education. All of these TEKS involve students writing programs, which is what they'll learn to do through the Coding Lab. Our fourth objective is for students to build computational thinking skills. This is supported by ISTE Standard 1.5d, which states that students understand how automation works and use algorithmic thinking to develop a sequence of steps. This is exactly what coding is. Our overall budget for the Coding Lab is simple. We'll need to purchase a 1-year subscription of the Tinker High School curriculum through Tinker by Bijous, which is $50 per student. We will be accepting 20 students into the program, so that brings our total expense to $1,000. This program does require the use of desktop computers or Chromebooks, but the library already has 20 Chromebooks, so there will be no additional cost. So how will we know our program is effective? We'll be doing this through 3 different forms of assessment. Tinker offers built-in quizzes during the interactive lessons. We'll be able to access this information after the completion of each lesson, and from there we'll assess student understanding and see where they may need some additional support. By the end of the first semester, the students will be expected to create a functional interactive game, and this is built right into their courses. And by the end of the year, students will be evaluated through the creation of a website that is demonstrated to the whole group. These are some of the program benefits of the Coding Lab. Students will be learning through exploration and creation. They'll be introduced to cross-curricular learning experiences. They'll be building career skills and developing problem-solving skills. Students will be working at their own pace, so they won't have stress of who's going faster or if they're behind. And this program will offer great performance data on our students. Here is what research says in support of programs like the Coding Lab. From coding programs to STEM careers. Jing et al. Conducted a study of 669 high school students to determine what factors will affect their decision in joining a STEM career in the future. The study determined the intrinsic coding interest, coding self-efficacy, and perceptions of coders attributed to 64% of the variance of students pursuing a STEM career. The study concluded that direct exposure to fun and authentic coding experiences would have a positive impact on those decisions. And we also need more STEM professionals in the world, so why not add more of these programs? More than coding. Popat and Starkey reviewed 10 research studies on what skills people learn from coding besides just coding itself. The study stated that 10 out of 10 research articles showed students develop problem-solving skills through mathematical concepts through the coding programs. 7 out of 10 articles determined students also showed growth in critical thinking skills while learning to code. Gamification works. Cuervo-Selly, Restrepo-Calle, and Ramirez-Echeverry conducted a study with 48 computer programming students to find out if gamification has an effect on student motivation to learn coding. The study used CodeGym, which is similar to Tinker. The study concluded that computer programming lessons utilizing gamification, which are game-based lessons, competitions, and trophies, increase student motivation and value of the task. So you might be asking yourself, why a coding program for the library? Well, I'm glad you asked. The library is a safe place for students to explore. It fosters innovation and encourages curiosity. The library provides resources for students to expand their knowledge and skills, and this goes beyond books. The library is a collaborative environment for students and teachers to get together and work to bounce ideas off of one another and feed off of the inspiration of one another. The library is dedicated to making sure students are future ready, and this can be through simple practical skills of everyday life. It also promotes cross-curricular learning and thinking. This is done through collaboration with every content teacher. And lastly, the library is the technology learning hub on campus. The School Library Committee would like to thank you for your consideration for the new program, the Coding Lab.